Good evening, and welcome to the GP Cocktail Lounge, where we will now have Master Drink Theatre. And tonight we're going to do the Gin Gimlet, picking up where we left off last time with gin drinks. Now the Gimlet's a very old, classic gin drink. In fact, it goes all the way back to the early days of the British Navy, the British Imperial Navy. See, back in the day, when sailors went out to sea, they faced a lot of challenges. They had to fight off, rival armies, they had to fight pirates, deal with horrible food, rats on the ship, seasickness, and scurvy. Now today we know scurvy results from a deficiency in vitamin C. And it took the Imperial Navy a little while to figure that out. They didn't necessarily figure out that it was vitamin C, but they did figure out that if you gave the sailors citrus, it combated the scurvy and helped them deal with it. So as a result, they started issuing rations of lemon juice to the sailors. They'd actually get Sicilian lemons, take the juice and mix it with sugar, and then give it to the sailors. Eventually, the lemons were changed out and they substituted with limes. So for a while, they were giving lime juice. Now, in the 1800s, there was a Scottish fruit importer or Scottish fruit specialist who developed a method of preserving fruit juice without using alcohol. Wholly new process, he patented it and created Rose's lime juice. And basically, with that invention, it changed the whole way that the rations were given. Instead of giving limes to the sailors who would then make the lime juice and mix it with the sugar, they just carried basically bottles or casks of the lime juice. And in fact, the year that Lachlan Rose developed the method to create the lime juice, or the lime juice preserve, Parliament actually passed a law that the ships had to carry it. So immediately it went into effect. So all these ships are out carrying this lime juice preserve. It was a bit bitter coming from limes. And so what did they do? Well, they decided, we don't just mix it with sugar. The officers figured, well, how about we mix it with the gin rations we get? So the officers started mixing it with the Plymouth Naval Strength gin that they got as a part of their regular rations. Now today you can get regular Plymouth gin. You can still also get the Naval Strength gin, but Naval Strength gin is a bit different. So when they mixed the Plymouth Naval Strength gin with the Rose's lime juice that they had, it was probably a pretty powerful drink. See, Naval Strength gin is 57% alcohol or 114 proof. Now your regular Plymouth gin is only about 40 proof, only about 80 proof or 40% alcohol. It doesn't sound like a lot, but that's actually a pretty big difference. So there are a lot of ways to make a gimlet, and generally speaking, everything kind of follows out of that original idea. One of the most classic ways to make a gimlet falls out of a Raymond Chandler novel, The Long Goodbye. And in that novel, his main character, Philip Marlowe, says that a real gimlet is half gin and half Rose's lime juice and nothing else. It beats martinis hollow. So I don't know if, that mix doesn't necessarily work for me. It may work for you, it may work for other people. One of the problems is the Rose's lime juice here in the US is a bit different than the Rose's lime juice in the UK. The Rose's lime juice in the US, and you can see it right here, is made with high fructose corn syrup. It also has an artificial color in it as well. The Rose's lime juice you get in the UK is just made with sugar and no artificial color. So with that, it'd probably be a bit better, but here in the US, don't really like to use that. Now, I'm going to show you the gimlet I make, the way I like to make it, which is a little bit different as well. So we've already got our glass chilled. So I'm going to start off by dumping out our water from the glass. So that way I can use the ice cubes. Those in there for now. So we're going to start off building it by using 2 parts gin. Now I'm using Tanqueray. You could use Plymouth or Bombay Sapphire. Generally you want a good sort of all-around gin that's got a bit of a juniper forward taste. Generally speaking, a lot of the British or even some of the Scottish gins have that. The American gins, not so much. They tend to be more on the floral side. All right, so we've got 2 parts of that. Now, Rose's lime juice is generally a sweet type of thing. And a lot of times, if you mixology bars or craft bars, they might, instead of doing the Rose's lime juice, give you fresh lime and simple syrup. I, instead of using simple syrup, like to use triple sec. It gives it a little bit of a different flavor, and maybe you could say this takes it away from being a gimlet, because the triple sec gives it a bit of an orange flavor. And we're going to do 1 part of that. And then then lastly, most important part is the lime. Now for the lime, I do either a half of the lime, fresh squeezed, or a whole lime. Depends on the taste of the person drinking it. This one I'm just using a half of lime. So the ice back in there. Again, mostly alcohol, so we don't shake it, we stir it. And there you have a gin gimlet. Now, you can also substitute vodka for the gin to make a vodka gimlet. So for those of you that do not particularly enjoy gin, I highly suggest that you make the drink but with vodka instead of the gin, and you see if you like it that way. Cheers and have a good night.